Episode 131. Did the Vatican conceal evidence of extraterrestrial life? Welcome back to the Conspiracy Theory Analyst. I'm Robin. The Vatican has one of the oldest and most extensive archives in the world. The Apostolic Archives contain documents spanning 12 centuries, papal correspondence, diplomatic records, council proceedings, and materials from every corner of the globe that the Catholic Church has touched. Access is controlled. Many documents remain restricted or unstudied. It also operates one of the world's oldest astronomical observatories, the Vatican Observatory, now primarily based in Arizona, and has employed professional astronomers since the late 16th century. For conspiracy researchers, this combination, vast secret archives, a powerful institution with global reach, and centuries of documentation on unexplained phenomena, is the foundation of a persistent claim that the Vatican knows about extraterrestrial life and has chosen not to tell anyone. Tonight we examine that claim in the context of a disclosure environment that has given it renewed credibility. Detailed explanation: the Vatican's relationship with questions of extraterrestrial life is more transparent than conspiracy culture typically acknowledges. Catholic theologians have speculated about life beyond Earth since the medieval period. In the 13th century, Albertus Magnus discussed the possibility. In the 15th, Cardinal Nicholas of Cusa argued against the belief that stars and heavens were uninhabited. The question has been considered within Catholic thought for centuries, not suppressed. In 2008, Vatican astronomer Father Gabriel Finesse gave an interview to the Vatican's official newspaper stating that belief in extraterrestrial life was compatible with Catholic theology. Extraterrestrial beings would simply be part of God's creation. In 2014, Pope Francis remarked that he would baptize a Martian if one asked, a comment widely circulated in UFO communities as evidence of forthcoming disclosure, though Francis was making a theological point about the universality of divine grace, not a statement about actual Martians. In April 2026, a Vatican parish hosted a formal public discussion on UAPs and extraterrestrial life as part of its Cultural Wednesday series. A UFO researcher presented to an audience that included Catholic academics and Vatican personnel. The event was covered by Catholic News Service. The Vatican did not treat it as a sensitive or suppressed topic. It hosted the discussion openly. Core elements of the theory: the first element is the 1933 Magenta crash allegation. David Grush, the former U.S. intelligence official who testified before Congress in 2023 about non-human craft recovery programs, alleged under oath that a UFO crash occurred in Italy in 1933, before Roswell, and that the Vatican was involved in concealing it and eventually shared information with the U.S. government. No documentary or physical evidence has surfaced to support this specific claim. Vatican officials specifically denied possessing any documents related to extraterrestrial life when asked by researchers. The second element is the Apostolic Archives' access restrictions. The Vatican archives contain billions of documents and restrict access to most of them. This is not unusual for an institution managing 12 centuries of sensitive diplomatic and ecclesiastical records, but it provides a structural basis for the claim that something significant could be hidden there. Researcher Mark Christopher Lee publicly called on the Vatican to release hundreds of documents he alleged were being concealed relating to unexplained sightings. The Vatican prefect of the archives responded that there was no document in the archives that regards extraterrestrial life. The third element is the Vatican Observatory Telescope. The Vatican operates the VATT, Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, at the Mount Graham International Observatory in Arizona. Some conspiracy researchers have suggested this telescope is used to monitor approaching extraterrestrial craft rather than for conventional astronomical research. Vatican astronomers have stated that the telescope is used for standard astronomical research and publish their findings in peer-reviewed journals. The fourth element is Monsignor Corrado Balducci. Before his death in 2008, Balducci, a Vatican theologian, gave multiple public interviews discussing UFOs and extraterrestrial life, stating his personal belief that some UAP phenomena were real and might involve non-human intelligence. His statements were taken by UFO researchers as insider confirmation of Vatican knowledge. Catholic commentators have noted that Balducci was expressing personal theological views rather than official Vatican positions, and that his statements were made publicly rather than covertly, the opposite of a cover-up. Evidence for and against the evidence that the Vatican is actively concealing verified extraterrestrial evidence is absent in the documented record. The Vatican has responded directly to specific claims. The archives prefect denied the presence of relevant documents. The institution has engaged with questions of extraterrestrial life publicly and consistently through its astronomers, theologians, and most recently through parish events discussing UAP. Vatican astronomers publish peer-reviewed research and operate within the international astronomical community. The evidence that gives the theory its persistent appeal is the combination of the institution's historical opacity, its massive archive, and the genuine 2026 UAP disclosure environment in which former U.S. intelligence officials have testified under oath about non-human craft and recovery programs. If governments are concealing extraterrestrial evidence, the question of whether the Vatican, with its global reach and centuries of documentation, also holds relevant information is not unreasonable to ask. The Grush allegation about the 1933 Italian crash and Vatican involvement is the most specific claim in the current discourse. It has not been confirmed or corroborated by any independent source. Arguments in favor believers argue that the Vatican's willingness to discuss extraterrestrial life theologically, to formally state that such beings would not contradict Catholic faith, is itself a form of preparation, consistent with an institution that knows more than it has shared and is slowly conditioning its global audience for a disclosure it knows is coming. They point to the 2026 parish UAP event as evidence not of transparency, but of controlled engagement, the institution managing a narrative it knows it will eventually need to address more directly. They also note that the Grush testimony, delivered under oath before Congress, is the most credible single allegation of Vatican involvement in UAP concealment ever made publicly. Whatever its limitations, it was not dismissed by congressional investigators. Arguments against Catholic scholars and theologians note that the Vatican's engagement with extraterrestrial life questions has been consistent, public, and substantive for decades, the opposite of institutional suppression. An institution that has its official newspaper publishing interviews about extraterrestrial theology, that has its parish hosting public UAP discussions, and whose astronomers publish openly in international journals, is not exhibiting the behavior of an organization sitting on explosive secret knowledge. They also note that the Grush allegation about the 1933 crash, while serious enough to merit investigation, has produced no documentary trail, no physical evidence, and no corroboration from Italian, Vatican, or other independent sources across the period in which it allegedly occurred and the decades of subsequent research. Public opinion and broader impact in 2026. With UAP disclosure at the forefront of American political and media attention, the Vatican conspiracy theory has received more mainstream coverage than at any previous point. The combination of Grush's testimony, new papal leadership under Pope Leo XIV, and the April 2026 parish UAP event has generated sustained speculation about what the world's largest religious institution may know. The Vatican's response has been consistent: engagement rather than evasion, public discussion rather than suppression, and direct denial of specific claims about concealed archives. Conclusion: did the Vatican conceal evidence of extraterrestrial life? The documented record shows an institution that has engaged with the question publicly and substantively for centuries, whose astronomers publish openly, and whose officials have directly denied concealing relevant archival material. For believers, the institution's global reach, its vast archives, and the Grush allegation about 1933 are sufficient foundation for serious suspicion. For researchers who have examined the specific claims, the evidence for concealment is absent while the evidence for open engagement is abundant. What is certain is this: the Vatican has one of the largest archives on Earth. It operates an astronomical observatory, and it has discussed extraterrestrial life more openly than almost any other major institution. Whether what it has said represents everything it knows is the question that cannot be answered from outside. This is the Conspiracy Theory Analyst. I'm Robin. If tonight's episode made you think, please rate and follow on Spotify. Tomorrow on the Conspiracy Theory Analyst. Did the sugar industry hide the truth about sugar and obesity? That's next.